Hello everyone, my name is Kunal Johar, CTO of OpenWater, and I am presenting our follow-up guide for taking the mystery out of how to run a hybrid virtual and in-person conference. The previous guide was more focused on the high-level mystery of what the various components are, and this guide is tailored directly to the technicians who are going to be on site. So let's get started. Let's start with the baseline. Here's what we're all used to as in-person AV technicians. We have a room, and in the room is typically a primary presenter, some panelists, an audience, and a screen. What we expect as part of this guide and for in-person conferences in the future are to still have screens, microphones, and sound systems in the room. Our guide will help take the baseline room and convert it from an in-person only setup into a hybrid setup. When we do this, we're suggesting 3 different scenarios, and the technicians that should service those scenarios are going to need a bit of hardware with them. Now, every OpenWater certified technician is going to come with all of the hardware they need to run a full slides, audio, camera angle, and bringing a remote presenter into an in-person experience. But for those that are following this guide that may be on a more stringent budget, we've given you the option for just slides and audio with $100 worth of equipment, plus of course your laptop, or you can go extend with a camera angle with a better camera and the same equipment, or go all the way with a sound mixer and the camera and of course your laptop. Along with this video presentation of the how-to, we've also provided a step-by-step guide which includes all of the equipment you'll need for all 3 scenarios. So I encourage you to download this guide and then go click on each of these links and buy the equipment associated. So I'm going to quickly cover this guide. We expect the venue to have that baseline room set up, and what you should request of the venue or the event planner, whoever's in charge of the in-person equipment, is to make sure that each room provides internet capable of 4 megabytes up and down per room. This will be enough to stream slides, audio, video, and receive a remote presenter. If you only need to send slides and audio out, you could probably get away with a smaller internet connection like 2 megabits up and down per room, but we still recommend 4. The standard room should have an HDMI input from the presenter podium, a TV and projector to capture that input, the wireless microphone system, and a sound system. I won't cover all the equipment in detail. It's just more important you know that you need to buy all of this. We've done a lot of testing, and we found the lowest cost items that still have the highest possible quality. So take a look at this equipment list. In addition to the more expensive and essential equipment, we've also created a list of suggested cables and adapters, and these will just help you ensure that no matter what room you enter, you always have enough cabling to wire it up, or for example, if there are a lot of 1 1/4 audio cables, you can convert them to 3 1/2. If there's USB-C, you convert it to USB-A. We recommend 20-foot cables with extension cords instead of longer 40-foot or 60-foot cables. And then there's some nice to haves like an iPhone stand. We've then presented the 3 scenarios step by step, which we'll cover in detail. And then we provided a packing list. So this inventory checklist is very helpful for those that are going on site with their equipment. And we recommend crews of 2 people per in-person room, each with a full set of equipment. That way, not only do you have extra cabling per person, but if something like the expensive equipment like the camera goes bad, you always have a second one in the room. A crew of 2 is helpful to catch each other's mistakes, but also if someone falls ill and is unable to attend, 1 person can be fully redundant with a bit more setup time. Once again, here's the packing list that we suggest you print with you and take with you. Okay, let's begin scenario 1, which is slides and audio.
Now we will be showing you the simplest setup, streaming slides and audio only from your physical conference virtually onto Zoom. Right now, I am sharing slides from my physical conference onto Zoom, and my audio is also being shared. So I can click through the slides. Here's the quick agenda for the slides. You will still be able to hear what I am saying and seeing what is on my screen. Our CTO, Kunal Johar, is virtually attending this conference right now, and he is watching my screen physically, but he is virtually watching. So I am clicking through the slides, going through my agenda. Everyone else within Zoom is still watching me change my slides and can hear me speak.
I'm going to walk through the technician's experience for the simplest use case, which is streaming slides and audio into a Zoom experience. So let's get started with a typical setup for a presenter. You have your presenter's podium. It's typically presenting into a TV or projector. And then we have a wireless microphone system, which is this, which typically has multiple microphones. Some are attached to the presenter, some are attached to the panelists, and they plug into some sort of PA system. So this is the initial setup. This is what we're starting with. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to walk you through the specifics of what you need to connect this to Zoom. So the first thing we're going to need to do for this setup is, instead of plugging this in straight in from the amp, we want to use what's called a Y splitter. So the Y splitter takes the signal from one audio microphone. One side of it goes to the amp, and the other side of it goes to this USB to audio capture card. This USB to audio capture card then plugs into the technician's laptop. Next, we're going to show you what to do about the screen. So here I have my screen and I have my slides. As I toggle my slides with a clicker or whatever, it changes the screen instantly. The challenge with Zoom is that if you simply take these slides and present them through the camera, they're going to appear to be very blurry. So, come on in here, Jay. Let me show you this piece of equipment. This piece of equipment is an HDMI splitter. This one happens to be powered, but you can also get an unpowered one. I take my HDMI signal from the presenter's laptop, which would normally go to the TV screen, and instead I split it. One side goes to the TV screen, and the other side goes to the technician's laptop. Now we're going to toggle over to Bettine, who will show you what the technician does. The technician uses OpenBroadcast and shows the slides. So you'll see there the slides playing, and you'll see that as I change the slides on the speaker's computer, they're changing instantly on OpenBroadcast. Then, Bettine, please show them the right-click, share in full screen. And you can see now that without any blurriness, we're sharing the speaker slides through the technician's computer. The technician then simply shares his screen or her screen into Zoom, and it broadcasts out to the audience. Let's go through the step-by-step guide for sending slides and audio out. So the first thing that we always encourage everyone to do is to ensure that the baseline equipment in the room just works. So have the presenter laptop connected, have the microphones connected, do a sound check. Often there could be problems in the room before you even get started with the hybrid setup, so make sure that the room itself is working. Okay, now that you've done that, you want to make sure that your laptop, the Zoom Technician laptop, has the HDMI capture card plugged into it and the HDMI audio capture cable plugged into it, unless you're using the Mevo Smart Camera, in which case you just want the audio plugged into the camera. Load up Open Broadcast Studio. Then take the presenter's laptop. The HDMI feed from their laptop should be split out using the HDMI splitter. Send one signal to the capture card, which is right here, and send the other signal to the TV or projector as with before. For the microphone system, use the Y adapter and split the sound going from the microphone system and send it to the audio capture card using the red cable right here. In Open Broadcast, you should be able to choose your capture device and observe the slides from the presenter being displayed into Open Broadcast. Finally, load up Zoom, share your screen, have a remote attendee join, and they should be able to see the presenter, change slides, and speak all in real time. Now we're going to cover the scenario of sharing slides and audio along with a presenter camera. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with the next video, which is how to share both the slides and audio, plus a camera angle of the speakers or stage into Zoom. So to do that, we're going to use this incredible device. It's called the Mevo Start. And this device does the work of one camera person. So you set this camera up, you set it up on a tripod, it uses a standard tripod, and you leave it in the back of the room or a couple of feet from the speaker, or if there's a stage, a couple of feet from the stage. And this camera is just a simple webcam that captures audio and captures video and can set it into Zoom. So the steps are actually quite a bit simpler than just slides and audio because this camera does a lot of the work. So as with before, we have the wireless microphone system. We plug in a Y splitter and we plug part of it into the amp. This other cable plugs into the other side of the Y splitter. And then on the Mevo camera, you'll see that there's an input for audio. So now it's capturing the audio of the room that it has 3 microphones that are capturing, along with the audio of the wireless receiver, and it's sending that. So this device can capture both video and audio in one device. And if we pan over to the technician's laptop, you'll see how this Mevo camera that I can point at myself, and I can point around the room, you'll see it just streams into Zoom as a regular webcam. To add the camera angle, you just need this Mevo camera, and it will capture both the audio and the video. You follow the steps from the previous segment, and that'll explain how to send the slides and audio. Here are the steps of sharing slides and audio along with the presenter camera. So as with before, we want to make sure that the room is set up to a baseline and all of the equipment works with regards to sharing the presenter laptop to a projector or TV screen and getting the audio in-room into a sound system. The next thing you want to do is move the Mevo camera into position, connect it to a tripod or put it on a base, set it into the webcam mode, and then attach a Y splitter from the in-room microphone audio and attach it into the 3.5mm audio jack on the Mevo. Then connect the USB-C to A cable and the USB extension cord and plug the Mevo into the Zoom technician's laptop. Now set up the Zoom technician's laptop and connect the HDMI capture card, connect the USB Mevo into the laptop, and load up Open Broadcast Studio. So the Open Broadcast Studio steps will remain the same as before. You'll want to observe the HDMI feed from the presenter's laptop into Open Broadcast. When you open Zoom, you want to set the microphone and the webcam to Mevo. You should now be able to see the podium or the presenter or the stage view in the webcam, and you should be able to do a sound check. The rest of the steps remain the same. Share the screen, set Open Broadcast into full screen projector preview. You should now be able to share the slides into the Zoom session while also having a camera angle. So we're going to conclude this video with one last setup, which is how to bring a remote presenter in.
Now we will be showing you what it's like to have a virtual speaker or a virtual attendee join your hybrid conference. Kunal will be showing us what it looks like when a virtual speaker shares their screen to display for the audience in your hybrid conference.
I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen and presenting slides as if I was a remote speaker presenting at a conference. You can see as I toggle my slides, the slides are toggled in real time. I can even have a conversation with the other people that are there in person. Hi, Mateen, what do you think of today's agenda?
The agenda looks great. Everything looks perfect.
Thanks. Now we're going to stop this and take a look and walk you through how we put all this together. To bring the remote presenter into the in-person experience, it's pretty straightforward, but once again, there's quite a few steps. So the first thing is this is an HDMI cable. The Zoom technician who is broadcasting everything out will also bring in the remote presenter, and all the remote technician needs to do is take the HDMI out from their laptop and plug it into a TV. We recommend it be a second TV. That way it doesn't interfere with the primary presentation that's there. Where it gets a little bit more complicated is the audio. So what I have here is a sound mixer. A sound mixer takes audio in from multiple sources, mixes it together, and sends it out to a unified source. So if you remember from the video, I was having a conversation with Mateen, and it was seamless for Mateen. The audio sounded like I was pretty much in the room as well, talking to him from another microphone. The way that worked was instead of splitting the audio out and directly connecting it to the sound system and to the Mevo, one side still goes to the Mevo, but the other side gets plugged in into the sound mixer. So let me actually grab the Mevo. So here's the Mevo. Here's the audio that's split out, and it's plugged into the Mevo from the microphone. This is the microphone device again, and you can see I've split out one side to the Mevo. That way it's going out clean and uninterfered. The other side now, instead of going into the amp, the other side needs to be plugged into the sound mixer. So that's what we have right here. We plug the other side into the sound mixer, and then the sound mixer into the amp. So once we've done that, we take a second audio feed, and you can just test that first. Make sure you get the audio through the mixer to the sound. The second thing you need to do is you need to get your audio out from the computer. This is the speaker's audio that's coming into the Zoom technician. You want to get that audio out. This time use the green side of the cable, plug it in, and plug it into line 2 of the mixer. So you have line 1, which was the Mevo. You have line 2, which is the speaker. You test the gain, you do a sound test, and you play it out through the audio. This will create a one-way stream of all of the inputs, whether it's from the room or from the speaker, into the mixer. And it'll create a unified output to the PA system in the room. What's really critical is that the audio from the in-person microphones goes straight into the Mevo and not into the mixer. And once again, that is done with this Y cable. It'll create a one-way output to Zoom and a one-way input from Zoom without creating echo or interference. Here are the steps of piping in a remote presenter into the in-person environment. What's important to note is that this option works with both slides and audio or slides and audio and camera. So you want to make sure you've completed scenarios 1 or scenario 2 prior to proceeding on to this step. After you've done all of the work of scenario 1 or scenario 2, you're now able to broadcast the in-room environment to a remote setting. That same Zoom technician who is broadcasting out can now take the remote presenter and broadcast them into the room. So in order to do that, there's an easy part and then there's a slightly more complicated part. So the easy part is taking the Zoom technician's laptop, taking the HDMI of the laptop, and plugging that into a second screen or second projector into the conference room. Now, if there's only one screen available, plug it in there, and you can always use the TV switcher to switch to that HDMI connection. This will show the presenter's face into the remote environment. The audio gets a little bit more tricky. So for the audio, you're going to need a sound mixer. And the sound mixer is used to take the sound from the in-person audio and the sound from the presenter remotely coming in, mix them together, and broadcast them into the in-person environment. The steps we have here ensure that the sound is broadcasted into the in-person environment without creating an echo or double playing the sound of the in-person room to the presenter twice, or the remote presenter hearing themselves. So here you see we take the microphone system audio, we use the Y cable as with before, but this time, instead of one going directly into the sound system, one goes into the Mevo or USB audio, and the other side goes into input 1 of the mixer. Then we take the audio out from the Zoom technician's laptop and put it into input 2 of the sound mixer. Then we take the output of the sound mixer and we send that combined mixed sound to the sound system. Give that a test, and when you give that a test, the remote attendee should be able to share their screen, show their camera, and have a two-way conversation with the in-person attendees. With a little bit of training, you can get this done. You can step into a room, and within 30 minutes, and with the right equipment, you can get all this put together.